Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and this is the third video of Disney Month, and today I am going to be covering the Bare Necessities as performed by Geoff Castellucci. This is a video I'm surprised I've had the restraint not to watch sooner. I absolutely love this song. Jungle Book was one of my favourite films growing up. It remains one of my favourite Disney films. And the Bare Necessities is, by a long stretch, my favourite piece of music from it. I also had a set of cassette tapes. Can't remember what they were called now. But I had that, I think, Under the Sea, Everybody Wants to Be a Cat, Mr. Piano Man, which is a bit of a deep cut. That was a song by Annette Funicello there was a TV program called The Golden Horseshoe Review, which I never saw, but the song Mr. Piano Man was on this one cassette tape with all these other songs, and the Bare Necessities. And that, I think, went a long way towards forming those as some of my favourite pieces of music from Disney's canon. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm really, really excited to see what Geoff does with this, because I can see it working really well in a bass voice. So, yeah. A couple of things about the song, actually. So, written by Terry Gilkyson for an earlier edition, I understand, of the Jungle Book than we got to see. It was released in 1967 with music by the Sherman Brothers, and this is the one piece of music that they actually pulled in from the older version of the film. So I'm very glad they did, because obviously I love it. It also was nominated for an Oscar that year, but lost out to Dr. Dolittle, I think. Originally performed by Phil Harris as Baloo and Bruce Reitherman. It's been covered by a lot of people. Brian Wilson covered it, Louis Armstrong covered it. Of course, there's the Bill Murray version with Kermit Ruffins from the 2016 Jungle Book. I think it was 2016. And with Neil Sethi in there as Mowgli. I wasn't so hot on that version. There was a lot of fun in the instrumentation, but the performance just left me a little dry. But I did love the Dr. John and the Night Trippers version that was in the credits of that, which, up to now, has been my second favourite version of that song. Whether that is going to be true by the end of this video remains to be seen. But yeah, anyway, quite a storied history to it. So yes, before we begin the video, a couple of quick things. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're here for the first time. Just a quick overview how this works. I'm going to watch the video uninterrupted, just reacting to it and enjoying it and emoting and what have you over the top, but not pausing. Then I go back and watch it all again, pause, interrupt, and offer what sort of analysis and commentary I feel like I can. Please do like this video if you enjoy it. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell if you want to know when my videos are coming out. Most regularly, 5 PM on a Friday, EST. But I am experimenting a little bit with occasionally getting the Europeans in a little earlier, so more like 12 PM or 2 PM EST. And during Disney Month, if all goes to plan, I'll be releasing 2 videos a week. So the second one, or the first one, I guess, of the week, I'm aiming to get out on Tuesdays. So yeah, that's that. And if you would like to, please do head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts. And once there, you can buy a coffee to help support the channel. And I did want to throw out some thanks to Alex Walker, to Starry Night Diner, to Mickey Fullerton, and to Karina Rederbeck, who have all recently purchased coffees for me and also contributed to assist with getting the external hard drive I'm looking to snag from my wish list, so that I can have a safe dump to put all of my videos once I've recorded them, because my goodness, these take up a lot of space. That's everything, I think. So without any further delay, let's see what Geoff has done with the Bare Necessities. That harmony, though. Oh, the logo is so cute. Ooh, nice drop. Cute. Oh, I love this intro. Oh, guitar.
Bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Well, I mean the bare necessities, old Mother Nature's recipes.
Oh, this is so much fun.
The bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam.
Oh, I like that. The color change.
Over my big home, the bees
Ooh.
are buzzing in
Oh, that's
the
fun.
trees to make some honey just for me. When you look under the rocks and the plants and you take a glance at the fancy ants and then maybe try a few, well, the bare necessities of life will come to you.
Very nice,
They will
sir.
come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.
I love these little changes.
Bare necessities, oh, Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Now, when you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear, and you prick a raw paw,
Oh, that's I love
next
the
time,
humor of those
beware.
other Geoffs.
Don't pick the prickly pear by the paw. When you pick a pear, try to
There we go.
use the claw. But you don't
Bob in
need
time.
to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big pawpaw. Have I given you a clue? The bare necessities of life will come to you. They will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why I'm back in rest at ease. With just the bare necessities.
I was right. Sounds great in bass.
of life.
Oh, nice.
I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. Yeah, don't spend your time looking around for something you want that can't be found. When you find out you can live without it and go along not thinking about it, I'll tell you something true. The bare necessities of life will come to you. They will come to you. They will come to you.
Ooh.
You.
Oh, that's so
Hey, y'all,
good.
thanks for watching Bare Necessities. This is my favorite song from the Jungle Book, and I hope you enjoy
Good choice.
it too. A huge shout out to Native Instruments for making such an amazing guitar plugin.
Ah,
Without it,
okay. I was going to
it's
ask
not
about the guitar.
possible. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next one.
Okay, that's really interesting. So if you hadn't seen my Tommy Johansson video, I talked a little bit about VST instruments there, which are synthesized instruments. And Native Instruments is, I think, at least they were sort of 10 years ago when I was composing more, one of, if not the best supply, like quality of synthesized instrument out there. They record, realistic, well, not realistic, like actual instruments, and use them as a synthesizer base. So you can't, without modifying it yourself, you can't deliberately go too low or too high on an instrument. Like, it plays the actual range, it plays the kind of timbre and feel that the instrument would have at that point. If you're playing a wind instrument, you can have it so that every single note is tongued, or a phrase is legato. You get a lot of, and you can hear it in that guitar. It sounds so real, which is absolutely fantastic. I haven't used them for absolutely years, but getting those true instruments, like I had one piece of music I had that was scored with a Stradivarius violin, which are arguably the best violins in the world, and it was entirely done with a keyboard at home, playing through this virtual instrument. So yeah, I'm really impressed with that. That's a fantastic sound, especially getting things like that slide when the image of Baloo came on screen. I didn't even know. They've obviously come further since I was there, because I don't think you could do that back when I was using them. So that's fantastic. Wow, what a I keep saying fantastic. What an absolutely brilliant arrangement. I really enjoyed that, if you couldn't tell from all the bopping along. This is... it suits Geoff so well. Now, one thing I know, and I haven't really talked about it in previous videos I've done, excuse me, I actually have coffee with me today. is I do know that Geoff and all of Voice Play, and I think many of Voctive, I forget if people said it about anyone else, like Home Free, but certainly I think they all worked, Rachel Potter as well, all worked in either or both of Disney and Universal Studios. So it makes total sense that the vibe of a piece of classic Disney music comes so easily. This is absolutely brilliant. As I assume, yes, produced, arranged, and sung by Geoff. Please be kind on the upper harmony parts. I'm not a tenor. I know I've heard this from about Geoff before. At least I've heard people in the comments say he said this. I'm not a tenor and I'm not a bass. Sure, that's fine, but believe me, sir, you do not need to apologise for anything. They sound fantastic, and they're mixed by Ed Boyer, which makes complete sense. Here we go. Use the Native Instruments session guitarist strummed acoustic to create an entire instrumental. It's an incredible plugin, and if you should want to check it out, here's the link. Not a paid endorsement, but Native Instruments send the check. Yeah, they seriously are. Again, not a paid endorsement from me either. I haven't even used them for 10 years because I haven't really been composing much. But holy smokes, their instruments sound good. That's just brilliant. I just want to go back and listen to it again. So we're just going to jump right back in on the analysis watch. So let's see what I can pull out of this. Oh, every time. Okay, straight off the bat, love this presentation. It's so simple. I talk about simplicity a lot with all of these groups, but there's so much going on in the music, you don't necessarily need anything else to be complicated. And this idea that each of the Geoffs, I don't know who is who, Huldra Draco would know that better than me if they've been defined by this point. When even was this? I realise I actually don't know the answer to that. Oh, 2020. July 20. Oh, so this is like, mid the beginning of the pandemic. So yes, the personalities, I think it was the Way Down video, I believe, is when they were sort of established. I don't know when that was. I haven't watched it yet. But I know we have original Geoff, and then Geoff, Goff, Geoff, and Geoff, I think. I don't know who's who. That's going to make no sense to anybody who isn't aware of Geoff's clones. But yeah, I don't know if there's a who's who particularly, but the fact that each of them has a very, very vibrant and bold colour behind them. It's very distinctive. It allows you to understand that there are 5 voices, even though it's very difficult to pick out which is which. I think that the bottom left is probably bass Geoff. Obviously, solo Geoff, whenever he's doing stuff by himself, has the colour switching going on behind him. But I feel like that is bass Geoff, because I think there were a couple of points where I heard the bass line cut off in the bass solo section to then carry on singing, and that Geoff was clearly the one moving his mouth. I'll look into that. I wasn't sort of paying as much attention to that, but we'll see if I can identify that as we go. But the simplicity of this, the boldness, the vibrancy, that's what this classic Disney does so well. Jungle Book is such a bright film in so many places, and this is a highlight. Like, the levity in this song, both in Geoff's arrangement and in the original. It's bouncy, it's meant to be super happy. You know, you've got these wonderful visuals in the original of Mowgli and Baloo finding snacks all over the place. There's he kicks the bee's nest at one point in time to drop it and get all the honey out. There's all the ants under the rock that they sing about. The visuals are so good and so kind of just entertaining, straight up entertaining and fun. And the song works that way, and so it's great to have a presentation that works that way as well. That's a very long conversation about the first 3 seconds of the song, but I do this. If you haven't been here before, welcome to my analyses. All right, let's hop back a section and go back. Okay, so lovely thing. I mean, I'm not surprised by the depth Geoff is going to here. I've definitely heard him go deeper, but I love that drop. That's a ninth right there. And the confidence with which he does these drops. It's not always the easiest thing. What impresses me is not that he can go necessarily from down a ninth. Down a ninth isn't particularly crazy, especially at the pitch he's singing. For him, it's well within his comfortable tessitura. But he is so precise on his landings on notes. Like, you can be a few cents off on a note, and it's fairly easy to tell. Cents, incidentally, the measure of space in music between semitones, or between notes, basically. I think it's 100 cents between a semitone. And if you're more than a couple of cents off, it's quite audible to the ear, and you hear that in singers when they're singing live, and you may not even be aware of it, but you hear subtle corrections. And he just is so precise when he does these huge drops, and it's so impressive. I love this whole harmony, this entire introduction. The harmony is just beautiful. And the fact that he's doing it on an oo too. It's not an ah, which would be a little bit more in your face, and it's not an which is very comfortable, but a little bit more closed off. There's a welcoming sense to this, because it is a open mouth sound, but not an abrasive one. And so it's this very, very gentle introduction, especially because it goes on for a while. It's nice to have this as like a cushion to sit back in and then listen to the actual story, which is the song itself once it kicks in. And again, this logo is so cute. I noticed there was nobody credited for this. I know there are folks who get involved with logos later, so I don't know if this just wasn't credited or whether Geoff did this himself. Either way, it's adorable. I love it. And again, lovely, vibrant blue. I think sort of in the same blue range as top left Geoff there. I don't think it's quite the same blue, but it's such a lovely colour, and it stands out. It's such a simple design, and it kind of gives you a sense of the fun of the song. If you just saw that on an album cover or a single cover, you'd have a sense of what you were going to get into. Maybe not the style of music, but at least in terms of kind of the fun element of this, the humorous element of it. Anyway, lots of chatting. Back to it. Lots of lovely stuff in here. This is gorgeous. There's one thing I want to go back and listen to once more. Yeah, right there. We get the first time that we don't have complete motion from one note to a next note. There's a slide between it, so it's a gradual motion. That's a really nice touch. It kind of lets us in on some of the jazziness. Obviously, we have some jazzy chords going on here, but we haven't got into the crunch that's going to come in some of the later ones, and there's just a hint of it. Once you start getting into those slides, you kind of get a bit more of a vibe of the style of music that you're walking into. It's very subtle, and it's lovely that it's introduced in this very, sedate introduction before we get to the really kind of bouncy part of the song. That's fun too, having the pop up as each Geoff sings. Now that's interesting. That was Red Geoff that came in first, right? Yeah, so that time Red Geoff came in first. So maybe Red Geoff. I don't know. It's hard to tell in a video like this because it's all Geoff. Hearing the different timbre of voice is a little trickier to pick out than if you've got 5 different singers. I may be wrong about the darker blue being bass Geoff. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But just having the pop-up motion, it's really nice differentiating. It just helps to highlight the fact that there are multiple different voice sort of types going on, even though it's only one person singing at the time. And it's interesting, even though there's a 5-note bell chord here, the hoo, 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 nothing related to the keys that are being sung, whatever. But the final note is actually back down to Red Geoff. because green and blue come in at the same time. And it's interesting that that motion is is what it is. So you get, it's a 4-note bell chord, really, with the bass then moving on. But the way that it's presented, it almost sounds like a 5-note bell chord that jumps down at the end. Just kind of cool. Random observations by David. What's nice there, too, is we get a 2-5-1. Ooh, except it actually goes... Doo, doo, is it? Yeah, it's an interesting progression in the bass there, because it's just giving a bunch of passing notes before we hit the 1. So it's 2, 5, passing notes, 1. And it's just an interesting choice there. I really like it. Gives the bass a little bit more motion. Allows the chords to settle gently above while still throwing in a little bit of variety into what we're hearing. Just a really nice touch. And then as we hit that final note, the guitar strum comes in to indicate what we're getting into. And it's nice that I quite like that we get that one chord that tells us the guitar is coming before we go into the full strummed guitar. It's just a nice touch. It's a slightly less abrupt start to the instrumental in this.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Well,
interesting. I didn't catch that before. The pronunciation strife. It's almost like he inhales the strife. Just an I'm not sure of the purpose of that particularly, one thing over another, but it's an interesting thing to suddenly hear there. But I love how immediately we go from these very kind of sedate oohs into having that bounce in his voice, just straight away. Just go back here.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. Well, I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
I love the tone he's got out of that instrument, the virtual instrument. It's really, really good. I am so impressed with how far Native Instruments has come since I was using them. I love that the whole way we've got this, it's almost like there's a smile trying to escape. It's not like he's trying to suppress it particularly, but it's just this gentle smile that's just behind everything he's doing, and you can see it in the little curl of the lips as he's singing certain vowel sounds and what have you. This is such a smooth introduction to this. It really, really is. What a wonderful way to start. The actual song, I mean, as opposed to the intro. It's lovely. It's exactly the tone I would want from a cover of this. Bare Necessities is one of those things, I'm happy for you to kind of do stuff with it. Like the Dr. John version is very, very different to the original. But I feel like there are certain tones I want in a cover of this. Like you need the humor, you need that sort of slight, the cheeky wink almost that's going on the entire way through this song. And you need that bounce. And it's 100% here in this, and I love it.
Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home.
Lovely things here. I love that every time we get the bass drum hit at the beginning of a new line, the color changes. It's so simple, but it brings in, it keeps the background from being static without doing a lot. Like it's doing enough to keep things moving. It's not distracting from what we're seeing at all. Where am I going?
The bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be found.
And it's also interesting because it kind of, the colours give you a slightly different sense each time one of them comes in. It also changes up a little bit about what you're feeling. Colour is something that we're very receptive to as humans. And it's interesting as a new colour comes in, just it revitalizes what you're thinking about the song a little bit, or at least I find it does. That's really cool.
Over my big home, the bees are
I love that little, I guess it's a riff, the ho. That's really nice. Like, if I ever sing this again, I'm throwing that in. Thanks, Geoff. It's just, it's got all the vibe of the song, and yet it's Geoff starting to make this his own a little bit. And that's fantastic. I always love it when he does that. He's so good at arranging music to put a personal spin on it, and that's a prime example.
buzzing in the trees to make some honey just for me. When you look under the rocks and the plants and you take a glance at the fancy ants, and then maybe...
Nice. I like that the guitar changes tenor there a little bit by having the hard strummed chords instead of this gentle. The guitar's sounding a little bit stunned. I think that's the right term. Where you stun the note a little bit by actually not ever fully releasing your fingers from the guitar. Like the chords are down, but there's a little bit of coverage on the strings, and I think this is where my technical guitar skills lose a little bit. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I think what would be happening here if you're playing a real instrument is the heel of the palm is very gently pressing on the strings underneath where you're strumming, and so the strings don't have the full capacity to vibrate, which means that some of the resonance is lost as well, and so you get that cool kind of dulled effect, which is really, really effective for something like this, where it's not just providing the musical accompaniment, it's also the primary rhythm. Excuse me. In the sense that it's, it gives you almost like a percussive effect. And then that sudden change to these sharp chords that are immediately muted, it gives, again, a very percussive hit. Like, you could imagine what the drums will be doing under this, because the guitar is being extremely evocative of percussion. It's a really nice touch. And then we have this section here where I think this is the right...
Try a few.
Yeah, we have that slightly at the end of that section.
Take a glance at the fancy ants, and then
You get those two hits and color changes, and then it goes back to just the strumming again. But there's no percussiveness in this, so you don't have a bass drum hit to change the color again, and so we stick on one color for a minute. And it's nice because what we're also doing here is we're also changing the frequency with which these background changes happen, which is also, even though we're now going to be on this deeper blue for a minute, it is also a means of adjusting what is happening that refreshes interest in the video. It's actually, for something that is literally as simple as him singing in front of multiple colored backgrounds, it's remarkably detailed.
Then you look under the rocks and the plants, and you take a glance at the fancy ants, and then maybe try a few. Well, the bare necessities of life will come to you. They will come to you.
And we have this lovely thing here where he ends this off with a lovely drop down to the bass. It's traveling, it's not a full octave drop or something like that. They will come to you. We've got a seventh to a fifth to a one. But he hits this lovely bass note, finishes it off, and immediately we come back in with the higher register Geoffs. And I love this in his arrangements, where we have this dichotomy between the end of one section in one register and the immediate beginning of the next section in a completely different register, usually with the chorus of Geoff's at that point. And he does it a lot, and it's a very effective technique. Love it.
Life will come to you. They will come to you. Look for the...
Oh, also nice thing. I like that we've had a slightly early, the push forward in the guitar there. Dum da 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 da. That final chord comes just ahead of the beat. And it's nice because it then leaves a momentary space, and it's so very slight, but it leaves a momentary space for the chorus to come in on the upbeat. Look for the... without the guitar in the way. Just listen to it as we move through this section.
They will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.
So absolutely Dark Blue Geoff is bass here, or at least bass for this group. I also love that what he's doing by adding in this very, very gentle dum, 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 dum. And it's not a hard dum, dum, dum. It's very gentle, and so you get a sense of a plucked double bass, and it's adding not only the effect of adding a bass instrument into this group, but it's also adding a little bit more percussiveness, because along with the guitar now you've just got this dum, 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 and it's just a very, very gentle pulse underneath the, and even if it's not, you know, just on the beat, he's moving around a bit. It's just really nice touch. And I love this harmony he comes in with here. It's just gorgeous.
Of life will come to you. They will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
So this is where we start really getting some changes coming in. Simple bare necessities. No, necessities. It's so nice, these little changes. This is where the arrangement really starts to become a true Geoff arrangement. We've seen some of the typical sort of habits that he uses in his arranging, that we know we get a vibe that there's a Geoff arrangement happening, but this is where he starts to harmonically make it his own. And excuse me, it's so nice because it's all within the correct sort of tenor of the song. He never breaks away from that, but he really starts to make this section in particular very, very unique, and I love that.
The bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities.
Oh, so good. I really like this. Nice little touches there. There's a second where we just lose the bass just for a moment. And again, it's just the similar effect of the guitar cutting off earlier.
Oh, Mother Nature's recipes that bring the
Oh, no. I didn't actually go back to that.
worries and your strife. I mean the bare.
Yeah, just that dum 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 dum. And it's just that little break. I mean the dum. It just allows a little bit more emphasis as we come back in. And it also gives a little bit of clarity for a second, a little space for the upper registers to breathe without that bass line going through. And what I think, if I'm not mistaken,
Your worries and your strife. I mean the.
we actually achieve that effect without the guitar stopping. The guitar can keep playing now because there's another thing providing a little bit of percussion. So that other thing can drop out, create that change that we've already had, but in a different way. That's so nice. Oh. There's some interesting things here as well, where notes are deliberately being left out to allow for breaths. Because I think one Geoff doesn't say your. Forget about worries. Oh, in fact, I think it's only one Geoff who sings your. That's really nice, because it's just letting these little notes sound out a little bit more. And even if it's happening so quickly, like I didn't pick up on that the first time around, but I was interested in everything he was doing, and it's things like that that can really help catch the ear and keep it, rather than catching the ear and going, oh, this is not... I mean, I don't think Geoff could ever not keep my attention singing, but you know what I mean? Like, it's a good technique for keeping people interested in your music.
The simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. Oh, Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
Now, when you
Oh, that's so nice. There's almost a little bit... It's that ending there is a bit barbershoppy. The life... very much a sense there of like a typical barbershop quartet harmony for a second, which we don't always get, even though this is a cappella. And, you know, a lot of people associate a cappella with barbershop because it's the most common approach to it for some people. Other folks come into it through groups like Pentatonics and Voctive and Voice Play, and they know it more as these a cappella groups that sing a cappella music as opposed to barbershop music. And yes, there is a difference. Barbershop is, I think it's one of those, it's like the what's that adage? I don't know if all barbershop is a cappella. There are occasions where I've heard barbershop music sung over an instrument, but within reason, all barbershop is a cappella, but not all a cappella is barbershop. That's something would be interesting to dig into maybe at some point, if I ever get around to it. But yeah, there are some subtle differences in what you would call barbershop versus anything else, and there's just a little hint of it there, and this is such a good song for that kind of style. I've heard Bare Necessities sung by a barbershop quartet before, a few barbershop quartets actually, and it's a great song for barbershop, so it's nice to hear just a little nod to that.
I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
Now, when you pick a palm,
I also like that you almost hear more of the harmony in some of those parts than you do the melody. The harmony lines are standing out just a little bit more, and it's nice because we know the melody. I can't imagine many people, I'm sure there are, but I can't imagine many people watching this, in terms of percentages, don't know the original song. And so it doesn't have to be at the forefront the whole time because our brains will fill it in. We know what's coming up. And so either you get a thing where the necessities, where it goes somewhere completely different, and that's a pleasant surprise, or the harmony can become the focus because our brains fill in the rest of the song for us. And so it actually allows Geoff some room to play. That's one of the great things about arranging popular, well-known pieces of music, is you have a little bit of flexibility there based on public awareness of the original.
The bare necessities of life.
now when you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear, and you prick a raw paw, well, next time beware. Don't pick the
I love the eye choreography that's going on in the background with the four Geoffs. That is fantastic. Such a simple thing. I love that they start looking down at solo Geoff and then start doing their own thing. It's also really well timed. I think yellow Geoff looks up a fraction after everyone else, but everything else is very, very well timed indeed.
pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear.
Oh yeah, it's a head movement. There's a head movement there, and the fact that I can pick on that is a testament to how well placed everything else all the Geoffs are doing is, because it's the only thing in that entire sequence, and unfortunately it just catches the eye, but he has that look up and then the head just tilts very slightly, and it's the only bit in this sequence where something is out of place and time, which is really hard to do. Obviously it's, there's simple movements and he's doing it on a set space, but the precision is great. I just also love the harmony that is being sung above this. It's really, really beautiful. The simple hum. Now we are closed off. We don't need to welcome everybody in to the singing because we're all here, right? So we can have that hum. It's a nice, gentle sound that allows the solo complete freedom over the top of it. It's a good choice.
Now when you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear, and you prick a raw paw, well, next time beware. Don't pick the prickly pear.
Next Time Beware there, also, the chorus Next Time Beware is also a little barbershop-y. I love that we're getting little hints of barbershop in here. It makes me so happy, because it's another one of my loves bleeding into this music a little bit.
Well, next time beware. Don't pick the prickly pear by the paw. When you pick a pear, try to use the claw. But you don't need to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big pawpaw.
And it fits the song perfectly. Of course, it's kind of how it's done, to drop back and let that line come through on its own. I also love one other thing. I'm talking as much about the visuals as the singing in this, but I think this is such a visually striking video. I love that we've gone from having the chorus above to the chorus below. It keeps the eyes moving. It keeps the interest. It's really, really good use of a very minimalistic video design.
But you don't need to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big pawpaw.
And also, I keep stopping on the same place. Now we're not having the colour changes behind solo Geoff because chorus Geoffs are all here. So we don't need the colour changes because the interest is there as soon as they come back in again.
You don't need to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big pawpaw. Have I given you a clue? The bare necessities of life will come to you. They will come to you. Look for the best.
That is so nice. I love that as an ending, and I like that he ends it higher, and then immediately going into the next one, they will come to you, look for the bare necessities, and immediately we're going down. And he's left himself space to do that, so that the drop down can still be a little bit of a surprise, even though we know he's going to do it at some point. It's a nice touch giving it that space.
Bare necessities, the necessities. Forget about.
I mean, that's great. I love that insert of humour. Baloo is a bear, so it is a, look for the bare necessities. Even though, of course, the song title is B-A-R-E. It took me an embarrassingly long time as a child to realise it was the B-A-R-E necessities, not the B-E-A-R necessities. It slightly confused me for longer than I care to admit before I actually clocked the difference. But there we go. But yeah, I nice little bit of homonym humour there. That's great.
Bare necessities, the necessities.
And as I say too, I love that that's a virtual instrument, and you hear the little squeak, which you can often get as you move your fingers along the strings. It's if you're moving from, because obviously if you let go of the strings entirely, they tend to reverberate a little bit. So as you move your fingers around the frets of a guitar, most people keep their fingers, they'll release the string, so they're off they're hanging free, but the fingers will still be touching the strings to keep them muted. And so you do sometimes get a little squeak on the string as you move from fret to fret, and then you can almost hear as the slide down changes from note to note, you can almost hear the frets passing by. That is extremely well detailed.
For the bare necessities, the necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities.
What I love with this too, he's now singing much lower. I think possibly, or probably, for vocal production purposes, he's not as wide. He doesn't have that smile that was there before, but we have no less of the fun and the humour. It's still all in his voice. We're just getting it from a different place in him, which necessitates a slightly different vocal structure. And we've got the curled lip on screen right now. He still has moments where he can get that, but the mouth shape isn't smiling as much the whole way through the phrase. Doesn't matter, because we've still got the humour.
Necessities, the necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities. That's why I'm back in Restities with just the bare necessities of life.
I love that with just the jump up to with there's really nice, and then it just sets up for that beautiful note on of life, and it's typical confident Geoff singing. I love it. This is such a nice, and I like that this is coming now, because I think if this came too early, it wouldn't have been earned quite as well throughout the song, and it might feel a little bit more out of place than it does. But because we've already had so much singing from Geoff, it is so perfect.
Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home.
And I love that in the first half of that wonder, he just allows himself these moments of having little runs and things like that, and they're such a nice touch. They really, really are. His voice quality in this, I know he's saying I'm not a tenor, forgive the high notes. It sounds great. Oh dear.
I couldn't be fonder of my big home. You don't spend your time.
That's so nice. We have that lovely ride. We've got the 4 Geoffs singing. We have that lovely run up. We're sitting on this nice high register, and then in comes bass Geoff. Not at the depth of his range, but low enough to be in a different sounding register, and setting us off in another section where we've gone from bringing the higher Geoff into the upper chorus, and then lower Geoff comes into that space that's been left behind underneath. That's such a good piece of arrangement.
You don't spend your time looking around for something you want that can't be found. When you
I love too how close that harmony gets. The first 2 chords are a little bit more full, but then when we go down, I don't even know what the notes are. Right there, it drops down into this really tight harmony. It's very close together, and yet you still get the sense that all the Geoffs are still there. We've still got that fullness, but the sound is much more kind of crunchy. It's really nice.
can be found. When you find out you can live without it and go along not thinking about it, I'll tell you something true.
This is nice because, assuming that this is bass Geoff that we're hearing still in the dark blue there, I love that the focus comes on him and you get the "I tell you something true," which is not the melody at all. "I tell you something true," right? He's still ended on the same note. He's just gone down to it instead of going up to it. And then at the same time, this is this lovely thing. He goes down, the chorus goes up. We get that breadth spreading back out again. I love it.
Go along, not thinking about it. I'll tell you something true. The bare necessities.
The true that's just coming through there is such a nice note as well. Just pushes out of the mix. I can't hear specifically what that Geoff is. I mean, I probably could if I spent time on it. But what that Geoff is singing on the "I tell you something." But that true just pushes through there.
Not thinking about it. I'll tell you something true. The
Oh, so nice.
necessities of life will come to you. They will come to you. They will come to you.
Nice touch there. We have the first "They Will Come to You" with the chorus. Then the chorus drops away. Then as we prep for this big drop that's coming up here, you get that expansion to full screen that lets us focus on this amazing line that he's singing here. Oh, and that drop is just gorgeous, the slide down.
They will come
to Is that just one octave? Yeah, I think so.
They will come to
Yeah, after Tennessee Whiskey, I'm just like, how far is Geoff dropping any time he drops? I know that wasn't a slide, those were runs down, but between that and Oogie Boogie, and I think I have at least one arrangement coming up this month where something even crazier happens based on what people have been telling me, so I'm looking forward to that. But these slides, you have to be, it's almost difficult to hear how far he goes sometimes because he does it so smoothly. He's actually gone down 2.5 octaves. Excuse me. And it sounds like he does it so smoothly, it's like, well, that can only have been 1 octave, surely. Because it's so unusual to hear a voice that can travel that fast so cleanly.
you.
And then there's something so wonderfully humorous about having the da 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 you. It's the button coming from the vocals. So often, it'll be you da 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 kind of thing, and you'd expect it to come from the instrument. So the fact that it comes from the vocals is just a really nice touch. This is such a great arrangement. Well played, Geoff. You did a really, really good job of this one. I think this might... I'm going to have to listen to this a few more times and then go and listen to Dr. John, but I think this might be in solid contention for being my second favourite arrangement of this. I feel like this is one of those songs where the original is just so good. I can't see it getting pushed off the top spot anytime soon, but this is truly brilliant. I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you to multiple people who recommended it to me. Do I have... When did I start taking notes of who was recommending me what? I keep saying I'm going to try and mention more when I've had something. Yeah, I didn't for this one. Okay. I want to mention more when people recommend me things, but I think this got recommended a lot. Yeah, I don't have it. This got recommended a lot very early on. I think probably right after I'd done Monster Mash, which was my first Geoff cover. And I wasn't yet writing down... I didn't realise... More fool me. I didn't realise the breadth of the number of recommendations I was going to be getting, so I hadn't thought to start writing everything down yet. Now I do, but I don't... thank you to all who recommended this to me, let's just put it that way. I really, really appreciate that. This is an excellent, excellent song. Fantastic arrangement, and I really, really enjoyed that. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please do like the video if you did. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell if you want to know each time one of my videos comes out. And if you would care to do so, head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts. I'm really grateful that you watched this. I hope you got something out of it. And that's going to be it for this video. So I will just say have a great afternoon. Afternoon, evening, night, morning, tea time, second breakfast, whatever it is you're watching this. And take care of yourselves, and Disney month continues, so more Disney coming later this week, and I hope you enjoy. Take care for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.